I had decided in 2015 to go back to college and finish a degree that I'd started in the 70s and 80s. And I was really excited to be back in college and pursuing my lifelong dream. And this was 2015 is when I started in the fall. And in the summer or the spring of 2016, I started seeing some very small things that kind of bothered me on my left breast. And I wasn't sure what they were. One was there was no lump at all. One was that my left nipple tilted up a little bit.
Hmm.
But I made an excuse for that because I was born, my left hand is an artificial limb.
Oh, wow.
And because this is going to be kind of funny, but kind of. So parts of me are not even. So
Okay.
I had one breast that was smaller than the other one. And it was very difficult buying bras because either I was going to have to squish one
Yeah.
to have the other one fit, or if I fit the smaller one, then I had a lot of space in the other one, you know. So
Okay.
this was the one that got squished. And so I thought that's why it was tilting up
Right.
because for years it was squished. And then when I was taking a shower, there would be a teeny tiny little piece of flesh right in the middle of my nipple that would always come off. And it would, be kind of it was a little bit, kind of wet because it's just a little piece of skin would come off, and then it would clear up. But then, the next time I took a shower, there it would go again.
Wow.
And I didn't know what that was. And so I went to a dermatologist, and she said, well, that I read it up on Paget's disease, and I thought maybe that's it. And she said, I really don't want to biopsy that because it's really going to hurt. Can
Oh,
you imagine?
yeah.
Yeah. So I went for a mammogram, and it was time anyway to go
Yeah.
for the mammogram. And so they did see some suspicious cells, and we did the biopsy. And fortunately, I caught it so early. It was teeny tiny. There was,
Wow.
yeah. And so no, the end of the first week of my summer semester in 2016, I was taking 3 classes. I was diagnosed with what is it, DISC?
Yeah.
No,
Ductal.
DICS, yeah, ductal carcinoma in situ. And, but by the end of it, after the surgery, the final biopsy, I did have Paget's disease also.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I started asking around in my family because I have never heard of anyone in my family having breast cancer ever. Other kinds of cancers, yeah, but not
Right.
breast cancer. And my mother called around. She asked whatever living relatives were available, and I didn't know too much about my father's family. There weren't too many people in my father's family, so I didn't have any real history on that. But on my mother's side, um, no one. But there was one thing that I did every single night for about 4 years or more. And it wasn't a cell phone, it was a tablet, a little 5x7 tablet. And on the bottom of this tablet was where you plugged it in to charge it.
Right.
Because when I would go to lay down at night to go to sleep, I was addicted to a game called Mahjong.
Yes.
Yeah. So I take this off when I sleep, and I'll lean up here so you can see, and I would rest the remaining part of my arm. It stops right here. And I
Right.
would rest the tablet right here. And that little part where you plug it in would sit right here. And that's exactly where the lesion was.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought, well, now that's really pretty suspicious. And so I just thought that's that's just too much of a coincidence. And I did try. I was studying health at the time. I knew how to research things. I tried to find anything I could on that and really couldn't find anything. Nothing was definitive. There were stories, but not even many of those. Just anecdotal things on Facebook maybe or something, but nothing. But it always struck me as highly suspicious. And then when you guys got a hold of me, I thought, oh, there is something to this. But even before you got a hold of me, I was getting a degree in public health.
Mhm.
And so I used this opportunity to tell other people, other women particularly, when I would see them put that phone in their bra,
Mhm.
get that out of there,
Mhm.
get that out of there. You don't know what that might be doing, you know. And so, it gave me um, having the cancer gave me the opportunity to advocate for, breast cancer, getting mammograms, even talking to men. I did not have to have chemotherapy. I did not have to have radiation because it was so early. It was so small. And so what I did was I celebrated by putting some very bright colors in my hair. And I had it professionally done. So people would always come up to me and they'd say, I love your hair. And then I could talk to them
Oh, that's a
about,
great conversation starter. I
yes,
love that.
about getting that mammogram. And even if they were men, because men don't know that you can get breast cancer. And I had a friend from when I was in high school that actually died. He was male, died from breast cancer. And but that's the last thing on their mind. They have no idea that you can get breast cancer unless somebody has specifically told them so, but very few. And so I had those colors in my hair for a while. But what I did is I went ahead and I completed the semester. I didn't take any time off. I didn't miss a class. I was completely mentally a mess because what I did is I delayed my surgery until after the semester was over.
Oh, that
And
was a big decision.
yeah, and so even when during the day when I would study and everything was fine, I was distracted. I was in classes, I'm studying it during the day and in the evening. But when I lay down to go to sleep, it's just rolling panic attacks. What have
Yeah,
I done? I can't see what's inside my body. I don't
right.
know if it's growing. I don't know if it's spread. I don't know if it's too late and stuff. So I was a basket case by the time I had the surgery.
Yeah.
I had some really great professors that supported me really, really well. And they kept me going. So I had the surgery, and when the pathology came in at the end, the ducts were fully engorged. I got it just in time. It had not
Wow.
spread to my lymph glands or anywhere. And I
Wow.
had both breasts removed. It was only in one, but I said, I don't want to give it a place to come back. I don't want to give it a home.
Mhm.
If you can't behave, you can't live here, you know. so so I said, take them both. And so I'm not going to have any reconstruction. I wear forms
Mhm.
because sometimes if you only have one removed, then it's hard to get it the same as the other one. And as your body changes in life, then you have to adjust other things. So it's just much simpler and less worry on my mind because I remember I would be constantly thinking like I was before, is it in my left breast? I mean,
Right.
my right breast. Is it in my right breast? And I didn't want to go through that again. So
Right.
because it was horrible. It was absolutely I was alone. My daughter was somewhere, living in New York. And and I of course told everybody, oh no, it's not big, it's little, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. You don't need to come home. And it was a simple surgery, went really quickly. I afterwards, didn't really feel anything. I wasn't tired or sleepy. I was up the next morning at 5 o'clock, making
Wow.
breakfast and doing things and feeling just fine. So, and I think a lot of that was this, I was relieved that the surgery was done and then just waiting for the results. Um, so, yeah, that's it. But I am convinced that it was that tablet. I was
Too
so
much of
addicted.
a
I would sit
coincidence.
there for hours. I mean, hours and hours. I would lose sleep when I needed to be sleeping
Yep.
because I was so addicted to that game, and it would be
Well,
sitting there the whole time.
yeah. And really, this is much more than about the bra, because I used to do that same kind of thing with my phone. I played games on my iPhone.
Yeah,
I listened to meditation. I listened to waterfalls, and to fall asleep at night. And I did the same thing. Sometimes it would drop down on my breast, and it would be there all night.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just so many people, especially young people. They run. They think, oh, I'm doing something really good for my health. I'm physically active, and they got their phone in that bra.
Yep. Yep. And we find that a lot of people are, maybe aware of brain cancer, and so they don't hold it up right up to their ear, but they don't think twice about putting it in their waistband or in their bra or close to their body, because you know we associate any risk with actually talking on the phone, and that's not how it works anymore. Our phones are in constant communication with the towers,
Right.
so we're just getting, blasted with that pulsating radiation that causes the DNA damage, but nobody knows.
Well, and I'm reading, here lately, the past couple of years, that in men, the sperm count's going down. There's some infertility issues, and they've got that phone in their pocket, really close to that part of the reproductive system.
That's right.
And I thought, has anyone looked at that? Has
That's
anyone
right.
put those two things together? What's causing this?
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, it's not
I
a normal evolutionary thing.
Nope. I just introduced or interviewed, sorry, a wonderful gal from Canada this week who started putting her cell phone in her bra when she was 13, and
Mhm.
she's now 30 and in palliative care. Um,
Yeah.
and it's in her bones, and but she said one night after she had been in touch with us and started thinking about this, she and her uncles were talking about it, and it turned out that all three of her uncles had a large mass on their kidneys, exactly where they keep their cell phone, because I guess they work for the same company, and they have these work vests that have a special pocket right over the kidney for their cell phone.
Oh no.
Again, it's too much of a coincidence.
I worry too. I don't know if there's any worry about this. Everyone has these AirPods,
Yep.
and that's a signal going from one place to the other, and that is right there in your head where your brain is. If it's a problem having your phone that close, then wouldn't it be a problem having this ear pod that close as well? It's,
Yep.
I
Yep.
think that maybe if it's on a wire, it might,
On a wire is better.
might
Yes.
be better, but this is going through airwaves. It's transmitting those waves again. So
Right, right. And again, they'd leave them in when they're not talking on the phone, even. I mean,
they
they
leave
think
them
it's
in all
okay,
the time.
and it's not, because you're still getting that radiation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's getting any of those from me for Christmas.
No, no,
Sorry.
nope, no. So when how long ago was that you went through all that surgery? And
Well, it was June 2016,
okay,
the first week of June. And I had the surgery. It was a summer semester, so it was short. And there's always a break of like
right,
2 weeks between like July to September, or September, August,
right.
around in there. I don't remember the exact dates. I'd have to look it up, but it was at the end of that semester.
And so it was that, I forget how many years you said before that you were resting your,
Oh,
like,
many,
mhm,
many, many, many years.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now I had, yeah, I think I was probably still doing that even when I was in college just to go to sleep. But that went into the trash when I found out I had breast cancer.
So you pretty much made the connection right away, like I did.
When I saw where the lesion was, and I knew because they would do an ultrasound also, and they're
Mhm.
hunting around for it. So, and then they'd stop right there, and I could see it on the screen.
Wow. Yeah,
And that's too much of a coincidence.
absolutely. I
You know,
agree.
I might not have put it together if it was over on this side,
Right, right.
but it was right there.
Yep. Did they do any genetic testing on you?
I had genetic testing done, was it before that? Or a little bit, or somewhere around that time. I
Mhm.
had some genetic testing done, and there wasn't anything.
Right,
I didn't
right,
have any of those genes for that.
right. Did you ever talk to your doctor about the
Oh
coincidence?
yeah, yeah.
What did your doctor say?
Um, my doctor is a really cool person, and
Oh, nice.
known this doctor for many, many years, and we're very friendly. We we spend a lot of the visit talking recipes, but
Ah,
yeah, and sharing stories. And she said that she there's no proof, you know. And this is my GP.
right.
Um, and even I mentioned it to the surgeon too, and they said there's no proof, but there's a lot of coincidental
Mhm.
situations out there, but there's just no proof.
I'll send you the link to our website if you haven't been there. We've been trying to compile the proof, the research,
Right.
yeah, there certainly is enough there that we should be taking a good, hard, serious look at this. And we're not. It's just kind of getting swept under the rug.
Well, I did have I bought a cell phone that in the package of information, it did
Hmm.
say in the very fine print that you would have to read all of this stuff to get down to at the very end of everything, uh, that you should keep the cell phone 3/4 of an inch away from your skin.
You're good. Most people never see that. And in fact, if Cindy gets back on, she can elaborate a little bit. But she helped write legislation in Berkeley. It was called the Berkeley Right to Know Act. And all it said was that a cell phone manufacturer should make that warning more obvious.
Like they do on
And
cigarettes,
that's right.
the
And the
black mark.
industry spent millions and fought that all the way up to the Supreme Court and back up again, and won. And they didn't have to do that.
But in clinical trials, it's going to be very, very difficult to prove just because, you can't have mice running around with little cell phone. Uh,
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, the
I
study
just
I like the best is just came out of Taiwan within the last couple of years. It
mhm.
came out of a major teaching nursing school university, and they had 1,000 women in their sample. And they concluded that if you carried it in your bra, you were 5 times more likely to get breast cancer.
Yeah, they could go back to the women who've had breast cancer and then go back and ask them questions, get a really good cohort study
Yep,
and ask them the questions, you know, did you ever carry your phone in your bra?
that's what we're trying to get
Yeah.
going here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cynthia, I wanted to ask you, when you saw that warning, and we did actually win against the industry. The court ruled that we had the right to demand that they publicize this information at the point of sale. But
Yeah.
but then the federal agency that oversees all of this, that there's documentation that they are now run by the industry, by the wireless industry.
Right.
They submitted something into the legal proceeding that basically said it doesn't matter if people carry it, if they wear it closer to the skin, because it's, just doesn't have any problems, doesn't matter. And because they're the federal agency, the court had to retract our win and say we have to defer to the federal agency.
Yeah.
And they're saying that it's safe, that it's not safe. I mean, that it is safe to do, to
Yeah.
hold it against your skin, which is unreal. I just wonder, what did you think when you saw that and realized?
It was after I had the surgery and everything.
Right. What did you
It was
think?
more recent. And I thought, well, that's great, but it's in the wrong place. It needs to be more visible than this. I mean, it's that teeny tiny fine print that you can barely even read. It's in those little pamphlets that you get, and it's at the end. And, nobody does that. A lot of people don't even read those instructions at all anyway.
If you had seen it, would you have held it cradled in your arm against your breast every night?
No.
I'm just wondered would you have changed your behavior?
Yeah. Because since then, I pay closer attention to my behavior, because I still have my phone with me at night, and I make sure that it is not touching my skin at all. It's laying on the side of the bed, and I'm on my side looking at it.
Margot, I had one more question, but I want you to go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Cynthia, I have an image here that I just was looking at when I went offline. I need to share my screen so that you can see it. Okay, do you see this image here?
Yes.
Okay, this is a tablet, and here it is in its vertical position, and here it is in horizontal position, right?
Okay.
This is an iPad, I guess. I don't know what kind of tablet you had. Did you have an iPad?
No, it wasn't an iPad. It was just a really inexpensive little.
I'm curious to know what kind of tablet was it?
I don't even remember, and I threw it away.
Well, isn't this interesting though, that the antenna is actually where they're pointing here, is this red area is the antenna. So if it were turned on its side, or horizontally, it would be on that edge. I mean, it would be on the opposite, if you had it cradled in your left elbow or whatever, that would be right there if it were in this configuration. So when you said it's the plug-in for the
it was the plug-in. Can you see my arrow here? You probably
can't. I can't see your
okay. Screen. It's on the bottom.
Right. Got it.
How you plug in a cell phone to.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly where it was. And we just don't know where the antenna. So the antenna would be the Wi-Fi, would be the actual wireless radio frequency. The other one is lower frequency, although that's not what our project is focused around wireless exposure from cell phones particularly, but this would be the same thing. The warning still says don't, hold this thing closer than, you said, 3/4 of an inch.
It's still using the wireless network, just like a cell phone is.
Well, it's actually, the cell phone actually goes even farther. The cell phones are even more powerful in the amount of radiation. So you can look at we have a 14-minute video where I kind of wander around in the park and talk about that exact thing. Like, what's the difference between, why is a cell phone in a bra so potentially dangerous with the amount of radiation? And doesn't it just get a little bit of radiation just when you make a call or get a call or a text? No, we show that it's constantly.
It's constant. As long as it's turned on.
It's connected to a network.
Right.
Now, if your device, your tablet, were in airplane mode or Wi-Fi was shut off, then you wouldn't have the wireless radiation going into your body anymore. So we tell people, turn your cell phone off, put it in airplane mode. Then it's not connecting wirelessly to a tower A lot of people will still connect it through their Wi-Fi network, through their router. It's a lower intensity, lower power. So, but still, it's still wireless
But
exposure.
when you're out and about and you're away from your home, you've got it on the cellular.
Well,
And so,
ask Margot what she did when she was out and about. She thought it was, Margot,
I
say
didn't.
you're saying you thought that.
I thought I was doing good things sticking it in my bra, because when it rang, then I wasn't leaning over trying to find it on the floor, you know. So,
oh,
and I did a lot of driving through the mountains, where, you know, it's working really hard to get
yeah.
connected to that. And so it was just burning its way through
Putting a
my
lot more
boob.
radiation. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. And that's why my tumor is exactly the same size and shape of my cell phone. It's
oh
that
my
big,
gosh.
exactly where it was all the
Yeah.
time. Well, yeah, and then you're talking about, I mean, we tell people to like turn their phones off, turn their Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
turn their modems off, right, Cindy, at night?
It's very similar. I mean, in the sense
Yeah,
of the health
Yeah.
issues that, if, you know, as you talk to people in your health counseling with friends and family and
Yeah. Tell them about the don't put it, don't
yeah,
put
you
it in
know,
your
the
bra,
cell
don't put it in
phone,
your back pocket.
right?
Don't
Don't
leave
put
it
it
on
in
your
your
body.
pocket. Put it in
Yeah.
airplane mode. Don't sleep with it on all
And
night
I
with
do
your
that.
head.
I drive people crazy
The
because
other thing, Cynthia, that's the simplest thing for people to do at night is, you know, if they have, and most people have Wi-Fi routers now in their homes, put
right.
it on a timer and just have it shut off, you know, like automatically shut off
Yeah.
at midnight or whenever, you know, you go to sleep and have, so you have those 8 hours, you know, and then come on again at 8 or 7 or whenever you need it. But
Right.
you have those 8 hours because your body does from wireless exposure, the cells become, you know, oxidation. I mean, there's many studies showing the stress and DNA damage to the cells
Right.
from this wireless exposure. So just having the 7 or 8 hours just to turn the Wi-Fi router off when you're not even using it. Seems
Yeah.
so simple, doesn't it? How
But
come
you're
the
right.
industry doesn't tell people that? They don't want people to think there's a problem with it, but it's such a
Right.
simple thing to do that would, you know, benefit people's health.
I
Cindy,
think that we
tell
have,
her,
go
Cindy,
ahead.
tell Cynthia about the item in the news you told me about recently with Verizon and that small town.
Oh, well, we don't know if that lawsuit's going through or not, but there was a big cell tower that was erected in a neighborhood in Massachusetts called Pittsfield. People got sick, children were throwing up, and there were families, you know, multiple families in the vicinity that got sick. They filed complaints with the Board of Health there, who did, I think, a year-long study on these people's complaints and the exposures. And even though the exposure levels was far below what the federal government allows, their limits are set way too high. And, you know, they're not taking into account all of these subtle cellular, you know, oxidative, they're not taking into account all the neurological harm that a lot of people are very sensitive to. So the Board of Health actually issued a cease and desist order on Verizon to remove the cell tower to a different location or figure something out. And Verizon sued them, said,
Wow.
no, we have the right to put cell towers wherever we want them. And they had an application that had been approved earlier, 2 years prior, by the city. So they're suing the city, and it will be the city is now being legally intimidated into having to back down because they can't afford to defend a lawsuit at the federal level against Verizon.
Right.
So the industry, you know, that's what Margot was, we get excited about all these things that we hear and read, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get more involved in that side of things too. That's, you know, my focus has been so much on nutrition type health that's a lot of what I read is
Well,
everything that's happening in that area and different diseases like, you know, things like Alzheimer's and things like that. But I need to, you know, any information you can send me, any links.
go to our website,
Okay.
wirelessbubble.org.
I looked at it briefly
Uh-huh.
before when you first sent it to me, but that was quite a while ago.
that
Yeah.
page has a lot of information on it. There were a couple of organizations that are linked to that have all of the science, and Environmental Health Trust is one of them. And Dr. Joel Moskowitz's site. There are a couple of sites that are listed there that have all sorts of the studies, simple things you can do, posters you can print out to inform neighbors. I mean, or, simple
Right.
flyers, the whole gamut from full-on science to activism,
Oh,
information.
definitely include when I'm telling people to turn off their phones and turn off their computers and turn them off, so
The
you don't even
Wi-Fi
have the
router.
blinky lights coming on at night and stuff. To also, and by the way, don't put this against your skin, in your bra, in your back pocket. Try to find
Baby's
somewhere else to
cribs.
put it.
What about baby monitors?
Yeah,
They are massively putting out wireless radiation.
right. It's everywhere. People have cameras in their houses. It's not
Sure.
just on their doorbells anymore. They're everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. So it's just educating people, because the industry is telling them that this is safe.
Yeah.
And so, and people aren't seeing the warnings that are hidden in the fine print, legal warnings. Eventually, there will be more lawsuits. There are brain tumor lawsuits now, moving through the federal court system. Well, actually, some are in the state, I think at the state level. But eventually, I believe that, we will have a breast cancer lawsuit.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that some of the women that have come forward, and there are more and more, and men, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
who are getting breast cancer from putting their cell phones in their shirt pockets or in their breast jacket pockets.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there will be lawsuits coming
Well,
out
a lot
about
of times,
that.
even if they have a coat on, or
Yeah, sure.
a business jacket, they've got that pocket on the
Yes, the
inside.
pocket on the jacket, right there on their breast,
Right
right there
there.
against their breast. And like Margot was asking about your family history, a lot of women, even young women under 40, are getting breast cancer where they're putting their phones, like you said, going for runs, going for bike rides. We have an interview with a young woman who's on our team, Courtney, that you can watch. She's in that 14-minute video along with Margot. And they're getting breast cancer right where they put their cell phone and have no family history, none,
Right.
no genetics.
And what's really a shame about that, when you were telling me that the age range, that the younger women,
Yeah,
the lesions are not often caught on a mammogram,
right,
because when women are younger, their breasts are much denser and it doesn't
right.
see it. You really need something like an MRI or something like that in order for it to be detected. And the types of cancers that normally affect younger women are much more aggressive,
Mhm,
much more difficult to treat, and much more probably lethal than the ones that you see in the women who are 60 and up.
mhm.
So, and I was in the group 60 and up, because I'm actually pretty old, but yeah, right now. But
You're in
but
good
for
company here.
the younger women, that's a super scary
So
diagnosis.
sad, and the rates are going up quite quickly, and we just want a study to see, to make, if is there a correlation between the wearing in the bra. There's some studies showing, what was the number, Margot, of college aged women, or that
I
age
think it
group
was 30%.
that at some time puts their cell phone, they go to
Yeah.
bars, they go to
Oh yeah, they don't
class.
want to carry a purse.
Right,
It's just
right.
excess baggage to have around. They can
It's
get
just
stolen,
always
forget it,
there.
or whatever. So you want to, go lean and not have to just have things in your pockets or
And the young
something
breast
instead.
cancer, the girls'
Yeah.
rates are going up.
I wonder if there is a study anywhere, the rates of breast cancer since cell phones were invented.
Since
I'm
what?
sorry, say that again.
Since the invention of Wi-Fi and cell phones, if there has been a dramatic increase in breast cancer. And what you would need to do is possibly look, not at immediately the date that was invented, but when it became very popular, a lot of the population had it, and then look maybe 5 years and beyond.
Right.
The confounding
That
factors.
increase at
Yes,
that point.
you're right. And there's so many confounding factors that the phones have gotten so much more powerful, in the last
Yeah,
five
now we
years,
have
maybe?
5G.
Um,
Well, they have a lot more antennas. They
Right.
weren't quite
They're
powerful when
everywhere.
in the early days, because cell towers were so far away, right, from phones. But now there's so many different, it's the numbers, different numbers of frequencies now. You have all these different antennas in a phone.
You're right. Well, and do you have, there's areas of the world. Recently, I worked with a group of people in Nigeria. The company I worked with was offshoring to Nigeria, so my team was in Nigeria and in Colombia. But in Nigeria, a lot of times in some of the parts of there, they don't have cell phone towers in some of the areas, the remote areas of Africa. Is there breast cancer in their population, or is it very, very low?
That's a
Because
good
they really
question.
don't have that many towers.
Margot, I'm sorry that I interrupted you, because you were talking about some confounding.
Oh,
confounding.
well, yeah, just that it's so different now in the last 5 years than it was 10 years ago.
Well, so many people have them, and now it was just usually adults that could afford them, and then it was younger people,
Mhm.
and now children
Yeah,
have their
it's
own
like
cell.
90% of the population has a cell phone. So, the industry will say, well, 90% of the population doesn't have breast cancer. So there's
Right.
not a
Yeah,
correlation, but that's not the way you look
yeah,
at it.
You know
Right.
what?
That's
And
right.
what
It's
happens
a big
is,
yeah.
if the rates of breast cancer, and you both know this, Margot's was a researcher. She has an MBA in and that was her profession. And public health. So that, let's say breast cancer rates are increasing, and yes, and that what people will come back and say is that's because women are having more mammograms. That it's more readily, that it's just showing up more. And so it's hard to prove, they talk about causation, but so part of the reason this project is so important is, and I wish Brian were on here, because he loves to talk about this, so many women and men telling stories. In Margot's case, okay, the size of the tumor on her MRI was exactly the shape, not exactly, but very close to the shape of her iPhone, same size, exact location. And we're talking about, we probably have videos of 30 women, including a case series done by a breast surgeon with women under 40 that he talks about. That's on our website, by the way, that case series. And then the Taiwanese study that Margot mentioned, it talked about an increase in breast cancer in the women that carried it against their breasts, whether it was in a pocket like a nurse's pocket or a bra. So we're starting to get things, but we just haven't, there's a lot of emphasis on brain cancer right now, which is good to know.
Yeah, but people are handing their phones to their babies to keep.
Oh yeah.
When they're shopping in the store or sitting at church or wherever. Here you go, and the little baby's playing with the phone,
and the impact on that tiny body and that tiny brain is more significant than even on an adult.
Yeah,
it's a big problem. We have to get this done. We have to get awareness built.
There are pediatric researchers in one in particular, in an institute, in a learning institute, a higher level. I don't want to mention her name, but at this point, but she in her professional opinion, she believes that the increased rates in autism are related to the exposure to wireless radiation in children. And those are really going up.
About the increases, but if you go back and look at when the wireless industry began, I think that the autism really began to jump right around 1995.
So there's a lag time, probably. We don't know how many years.
Maybe. Well, it takes a while for cancer to develop, to be seen. You have cancer cells in your body that are just benign. They're not doing anything. They're not
floating around.
They're not growing. But then something happens. that
Mhm.
makes them grow. But it can take for some cancers 10, 20 years for them to
Mhm.
grow to the point where you're having symptoms and noticing it. And it's for some cancers, you don't have symptoms at all.
Right.
And by that time, it's usually pretty late.
Well, Margot.
Yep. Yeah, my tumor was never seen by a mammogram. Even the mammogram done a week before my diagnosis showed nothing.
Wow.
Yes.
Tell her what your diagnosis was right out of the chute.
Oh yeah, it was stage 4 metastatic to the bones, right? I wouldn't have been discovered except that I had been in a car accident and they did a CT scan in the emergency room. And the doctor came in and said, well, your head is fine, but you have cancer throughout your spine. And I said, I think you're in the wrong room, sweetie. I think you belong next door, not here. Yeah. And
But your
so it took a
mammogram was
while.
clear.
It took a while to figure out that it was breast cancer, was the origin.
Right.
Because the first thing they did was all kinds of scans, including a mammogram, and everything came back negative. It wasn't until they did the bone marrow biopsy and found breast cells that they knew it was breast cancer. And then you're right. It took a breast MRI to
Yeah.
show the tumor.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that's something I wish that they would change. Just go straight to the MRI. Let's forget
Right.
this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, do you have any
Did
other
we
questions?
forget to ask anything?
Yeah,
What?
did you want to ask us any questions or say any last,
If, is there anything I can do to help you further this along?
We are looking for women. Most of them probably have not made the connection yet. So it is a matter of just talking about it, like you said. We need more women to come forward. I believe this will become as significant a Me Too movement as any, demanding justice. I mean, but
Right.
we're not going to convince anybody to take this on until more women stand up and say, "Me too."
Do you have any materials like pamphlets, infographics, or anything like that that I can carry around with me? And when I encounter somebody who's interested in knowing more or in a situation where I'm talking about health, because I hope to in the future hold classes and seminars and all
Wow.
kinds of things on different
Nice.
aspects of human health. That's in my plan. When my last year of college, I made a hypothetical plan that embraces all aspects of human health and uh, wildlife health, and brought it together into one Parks and Recreation master plan.
That's wonderful.
And it's been accepted.
Wow. That's
So,
wonderful.
but the pandemic kind of stopped everything.
Right.
Mhm.
And so this is going to get started again. And if I'm still here, in maybe 2 years or whatever, when it does, I'll be doing, or however long it takes to do this, all this kind of stuff. Um, I'll be doing that sort of thing. That's just what I love to do. I love
Mhm.
public speaking, and any chance anybody's going to give me to talk on a certain topic, I'm going to take it.
Oh, wow.
And so if I have any health topic, it doesn't matter. It's just, what I specialize in certain things, but it's all health. It's all human health. It doesn't matter what it is. I want to promote, making the appropriate changes that people need to make, inform them, give them the information that they need. So I like to have materials with me that I can
We-
just carry in my great big bag
Mhm.
and go, look through it. Oh, here's the ones on the breast cancer. Here you go. Let's talk
We've-
about this.
We have just been talking about doing materials.
Yeah.
So I think I'm feeling like the timing is now.
Yeah.
Timing is
And
right.
we have a lot of, women's organizations here, just in this little community alone, but they're everywhere. We have, book club meetings, we have gardening clubs and things like that. But these women like to get together for any reason,
Yeah.
and we walk and run into each other on our walks, and our walks get bigger and bigger, and things. So, and that's just here, but I know that's happening a lot of places.
When I started to talk about this,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I would run into 2 people a week that
Yeah.
once I started talking said, "Oh, my niece does that." My sister does that. And that's what it's going to take.
It's just, word of mouth, but if we can
Mhm.
also put things in their hands.
Right.
Well, Cynthia, I'm going to email you the link to the Environmental Health Trust website. They have
Okay.
so many nice, I mean, you would need to print them out, but they
Right.
make the sort of final nice versions
Okay.
available on, ways to more safely have wireless devices, ways to, safe proof your home. There's a wonderful project. It's not just by EHT, it's by other advocates too, called the Baby Safe Project, which I can send you the link to that. And it's a beautiful brochure for expectant parents.
What are we doing with nursing moms who are putting their phones?
Oh yeah, right next, they rest it on their baby's head so they can check texts. They don't know.
What? Oh my God.
Just don't know. But think about the fetus when
I was thinking about that
moms
too.
are resting, they're lying down or in a chair
They're
resting
right there.
their Wi-Fi or their phones right on their abdomens.
Yep.
The industry is hiding this information from people.
Well, they hit it with cigarettes too, and look what happens.
They're following the same thing. So I'm going to send you some links, and if you ever hear of anyone who said, oh, so when you share your story with people,
Yeah.
I know that women can get breast cancer from putting their cell phones in their bra. And if anybody goes, oh, that happened to my daughter, please send them to us, because that's really what we're trying to collect.
Right.
Stories. We want to do a lawsuit. We want to possibly have someone do a study, on this issue.
Yeah.
Cindy, also, I think she would be interested if you would send it to her, a link to the film that Brian made with the firefighter.
Oh, okay.
This is a fascinating story, and but apparently the cell towers have been erected on most or all of the fire departments in the country. It just logistically made sense. There are a lot of them. It was a little bit of income for the
they were municipally owned. Yeah, they were municipally owned.
Right. So, but anyways, but then all these firefighters started developing these symptoms, these similar symptoms, and in essence, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cindy, but it's really not much different from Havana syndrome.
Havana syndrome is obviously, they think, a more targeted, more powerful pulsed wave, but they now say it is pulsed microwave radiation. That's exactly what comes out of a phone and a Wi-Fi router at much lower levels, probably, but it's the same sort of weird neurological symptoms that come out of this. The brain is the nerve system, the pulses of this digital, these waves, are billions of times per second. They're disrupting our nerve cells and our DNA and everything else in our bodies. And some people are highly sensitive to it, to where they cannot live in their homes when they put a cell tower up outside, nearby.
Wow.
They have to sleep in a tent in the woods. It's happening to people. And it's not crazy. They're not crazy. It really is happening.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody's going to react to things differently.
They're the canaries in the coal mine.
Be more sensitive than other people are. I love a lot of the modern technology, but it comes at a price.
It does. I hope we can do this again, actually, so you can meet Brian, because Brian got into this as an advocate because he suffered from severe insomnia for so long. And it turned out to be, this wireless radiation.
Wi-Fi router.
Right.
Well, and I know people who are suffering from insomnia.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Best of them.
And his insomnia went away.
To your router, how close are you to a tower?
Well, yeah, and I don't know all the steps that Brian has taken. Cindy, you might know better than I do, but his insomnia resolved itself when he.
The easiest one is, keep your cell phone in airplane mode as often as possible. Just turn it on to check for messages, or if you're expecting a call. Don't have it anywhere around your bedroom at night. Don't have an electric blanket, or, this is more about not wireless, but just electromagnetic in general, is, don't have things plugged in and all around your bed when you're sleeping. Turn off your Wi-Fi router, put it on a timer, simple things. Well, thank you, Cynthia. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you for supporting this project and sharing your story.
Yeah, I want to be involved, so keep me
Thank
involved.
you. We will absolutely stay in touch. Welcome to the family. That's
welcome.
how I feel.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Margot.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.